Good evening and welcome to the Caldor Community Meeting for August 24th, 2021. My name is Ryan Lubin, Information Officer for Cal Fire Incident Management Team 6. We'd like to go ahead and start the night out with letting you know, those of you that are on Facebook and the Zoom link, please submit your questions online. We're trying to answer those as best we can and as many as we can for you within the 30-minute time frame. Quick little update on the fire. So right now our current acreage is 117,704 acres. Currently sitting at 9% containment with 2,119 personnel assigned. I'd like to remind everybody again, as every night, we do update this information daily at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. with our incident update sheets. There's multiple ways to access this information. We have it on an email list, social media, Twitter, all of those platforms, the local El Dorado Forest Facebook, as well as the Cal Fire, local Cal Fire AAU Facebook page. I encourage everybody to go visit there, and when they see the update, there should be a QR code you should be able to scan, which will be a link tree. It takes you to all the different information sign-up sites that you might need, be it the El Dorado, Amador County Code Reds, the most up-to-date shelters that are on there, and road closures, as well as the update sheets, the email sign-up sheets, which is really what we would like for you to do 100% of the time, is do that email sign-up sheet. That guarantees that as soon as we push it out, it's going to go directly to your email for you. So with that, I'd like to bring up our Ops Section Chief, Eric Schwab, for a quick operational update of the incident.
Good evening, Eric Schwab, Operations Section Chief with Incident Management Team 6. I'll start in Division W. So we do have black line, which shows that we do have containment, and we're confident that that area of the fire is not going to move. A small piece of Division W right up on Omo Ranch Road has been still, we have crews in there continuing to mop up. So we have a little piece of red in there. Moving just past that, again into Division W and into Division Alpha, the fire is established. This is the middle fork of the Consumnes River. The fire is well established in this steep drainage with a ton of decadent brush, grass, oak woodland intermixed in there. Our tactic that we're utilizing to control this piece of fire right here is we're firing off of literally behind houses along the roads in here that we've prepped those structures. We've been doing firing up on the Grizzly Flat side. We plan to take it right up to the lip of the canyon where we have dozer line, about an 8-blade wide dozer line that goes down into the middle fork of the Consumnes and back up the other side, in an area that we chose that's just grass oak woodland. It has the least amount of fuels, is going to give us our best option to control this fire with a burning operation that we're starting again tonight. We've been doing it. This will be about the third day that we've worked in there. We're actually going to be working on both sides. It's important when we're firing in these large canyons, we have to burn along both sides so we don't send fire up one side or the other. This will prevent what's been happening over the last few days as the fire naturally progresses down canyon, it gets established, it makes a run up towards Grizzly Flat Road, and there's houses up along the rim of the fire. It throws spots, and then we have to engage those spots. So that's the whole point of that tactic there. We're doing almost an identical tactic up off of Sly Park Road below Jenkinson Lake, taking fire. We've been burning. Today will be the 4th evening that we've been burning in this area. We're along Sly Park Road, burning behind people's homes where we've improved with dozer lines. We've pre-treated with retardant. We're doing everything we can in there, and this has been progressing very well. We're getting good depth, which means the main fire that's established in this steep drainage won't hopefully run up at us and challenge structures. We're also doing a 2-tier burn with crews on the inside of this dozer line to bring it down, because we want both sides of that fire to come down at the same time and tie in at the bottom. I'm moving into Division Foxtrot. I just got off the helicopter after flying this. A lot of this looks really good in here. It's hung up on top of the main ridge system, and it's just slowly backing its way down, not causing too much harm. We're not having to expend resources on it. Right now, we're just kind of observing that. As we move into Division Hotel, Division I, the spot fire is getting active again, kind of a repeat of yesterday. Those southwest winds have come up. They're pretty strong in there, and this whole area of the fire is starting to pick up and move on us a little bit. We were able to get some aircraft on the west side of this spot fire to work it, and literally right on the other side, right here, there is a wall of smoke that we cannot get aircraft in. To make sure we hold this spot fire from moving east, we're using Wrights Lake Road, and we have another little burning operation that we're going to try and facilitate tonight with moving some resources in there to keep that eastward spread in check. Division Juliet, almost like yesterday, it's challenging us in there. It's getting real close to our dozer line. We have most of this dozer line in from Mormon Immigrant Trail all the way down Silver Fork, down tied into Highway 50. It's not big enough, and we're not ready to burn off of that. It needs a lot more preparation, but the fire is challenging that area right now, and we are engaged in an active firefight to try and maintain this as a salvageable point of control for us. Had additional resources come in last night, so Branch 20 we haven't been able to staff adequately for the last several days. We got resources in there. They're scouting that area out. We have a lot of dozers in there pushing direct and indirect lines, so I'm confident we will start to pick up some containment in Branch 20 as we move throughout the next couple of days. And I'll hit a couple of these questions. Someone asked at what point is dozer line considered containment? So once we get the control line in, whether it be direct or indirect, we will either have to burn that control line out. We want the burned edge right up to our control line, whether it's hand line, dozer line, and then we need to mop that up. We physically have to get fire trucks or back pumps, squirt water on it, use hand tools, mix it up, break things, chunk it, and extinguish it. And once it's extinguished, then we consider that contained when we're reasonably assured that it's not going to get hot again and throw a spot fire outside of our control line. Someone's asking if we can use geographic names instead of divisions, HI. We use the incident command system to organize these large incidents. We use letters typically for geographic breaks because we have firefighters that come in from all over the country, and they just won't know what those geographic references are. So we utilize the letters to do that. We have functional breaks or functional groups that we use also, that with those functional groups we'll typically name them something. As an example, I have a functional group out here called the Dorado group, and they're my resources that are out primarily doing the burning operations that we're conducting. Hit that one. What's the difference between indirect and direct firefighting? Indirect is exactly what we're doing right here. The fire is too active for us to be right on it. 1 foot in the black is the safest way for us to fight fire. Any flames over 4 feet high is too hot for humans to be next to it without a hose to squirt water or aircraft to support us. So we have to back way far away, far enough away that we feel we have enough time to construct a line before the fire is going to hit it. So this is indirect line, and that is the difference. And I think that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Really quick, we did get a quick question that I'll address of this meeting versus the meeting that was put out in the press release for the Tahoe meeting. So this is a community meeting for a general update of the fire itself, and as you heard from the Ops Section Chief, Chief Schwab, he's talking directly around the fire incident itself and the communities that are affected right here. The Tahoe meeting that is going on at 6 p.m. is a meeting specific for the area up there in the Tahoe Basin with some concerns that were going to be addressed through that meeting and the officials up there. So with that, I'd like to bring up our El Dorado County Sheriff, PIO, Sergeant Brown.
All right, thanks. Simon Brown, El Dorado County PIO. I had a couple of questions about evacuation warnings. Someone asked what the difference is between evacuation warning and order. Basically, an order means you have to leave the area. You're going to get an alert on your phone through code red that's going to call your phone if you've registered it. If you haven't, go to our website with instructions how to do that. You'll also, hopefully, in the best case scenario, get law enforcement at your door, knocking on your door, telling you to get out. Now, a warning is just that. It's a warning, and it's to give people more time to get out. We used to call them voluntary evacuations, what they now call warnings, and that's how we like to see it is if you can get out, start packing, be ready, and leave if you can. The other question was about, will Christmas Valley receive an evacuation warning? There is a 6 o'clock meeting just for Tahoe, so you'll probably get more information tuning in there. At the same location, you can find it through the Cal Fire Amador El Dorado Unit website, I believe, and on Facebook. So will Christmas Valley get an evacuation warning? Yes, if fire deems that's appropriate based on fire behavior and conditions, we're prepared to do that if needed. But at this time, I don't have an answer for that.
Thank you, Sergeant. I'd also like to bring up our law enforcement liaison, Eric Lee, for some evacuation repopulation questions.
Thank you very much. Eric Lee, Law Enforcement Liaison, Team 6. So one of the questions that I got was if areas in Grizzly Flat were not impacted by the fire, at what point can we go ahead and repopulate that area? It's undetermined at this time. The reason for that is that the fighting efforts that are going on right now, we need to make sure the ingress-egress routes for those apparatus remain clear. So we want to keep all the population out of there, keep those roads clear so that firefighters can get in there with not only their equipment, hoses, etc., but that they do so in a safe manner without having to worry about traffic flying by them on the roads. What is the repop process? So the process right now is that when we get ready to look at an area, we have a meeting every day with law enforcement, firefighter operations, etc. And we look at an area that, okay, we've determined that there's no more risk of fire in that area and it will not inhibit the firefight. We can look at that to repopulate. What we would do is, first of all, we only repopulate during daylight hours. We want to make sure that the terrain you're going into, which may have changed from what you remember, is safe, and so you're able to see clearly the new roads, however they may be, whatever state they're in. The second part of that is we want to make sure the utilities are on for you. So we want to make sure an effort is given to make sure utilities are there so that when you get back to your residence, that you have power, water, etc., so that it's actually livable. We don't just allow you back in an area that that everything's turned off still. So there's several things we do to mitigate it and make sure that it's as safe as possible before you go back in. I'm going to take you over here real quick to the evacuation map. The question about the warnings and the mandatory evacuations, and one of the questions was about going over into this area and just south of Echo Summit area, stuff like that. And at this time, presently, right now, as it stands with the fire, this area outside of this yellow is not in a warning. This area, the yellow, obviously indicates the warning area. The red is the mandatory evacuation. And so what the fire department does is they come up with decision points, and those decision points allow them to figure out, based on the current spread of the fire, how fast it's moving, the wind that may be coming in, so how it's affected by that. They will determine a decision point, in which case we need to now make something else a mandatory evacuation, and something on the outside would then become a warning. But after talking with operations just about an hour ago, they said, no, the fire's looking pretty good over here. We're holding it pretty good, and so therefore we won't have to go into a warning out in this area. This will just stay in a warning, won't have to go into mandatory evacuation, so it'll stay as it is for right now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. With that, I'd like to bring up one of our unified ICs, Chief Martin, for update.
Good evening, Dusty Martin, one of the Unified Incident Commanders. So I've got a whole bunch of questions here that I'll go through tonight. A couple of questions. Is Kyber still in danger? Absolutely it is. As you can see by the map over here, we have a fire that's bumped Highway 50 in multiple locations. We still have the fire that's on the other side of Highway 50 in the Kybers area. And with our current winds that are pushing the fire towards the east, very much so. There was the same question for Pollock Pines. And one thing that I want to make sure we cover very closely with you is that our goal, as I've said in the previous nights, is to get the community back into their homes, get you back into your residence as fast as we can, ensuring that we have safety. We are not keeping you in a mandatory evacuation because it's okay for you to go back in. We are keeping the mandatory evacuations because it still is not safe. There still is a threat to that community. Once that threat has been mitigated, and we've gone through the process that Eric Lee just talked about, we will get you back in. So as far as Pollock Pines, you can see on our map, we've got a whole lot of red over here. This has not been contained yet. We've built in a whole lot of dozer line. We've put in through here. As operations talk, they're working on some plans for here, but this is still all open fire. So any change in wind shift or that could still put the community at risk, and which is why it's still under a mandatory evacuation. Had a couple of questions of how accurate are the CAL FIRE maps and how often are they updated. Our maps are typically updated twice a day. We have numerous intelligence aircraft that are flying our fire throughout the day, throughout the evening, getting us the most up-to-date information with heat signatures and perimeter. Those are getting updated twice a day to us. Our folks on the ground are getting information sometimes every 45 minutes to 2 hours from the intelligence aircraft flying overhead. So our maps are accurate as they get released through our PIO shop. That is done every 7 a.m. and every 7 p.m. There's been some questions about retardant and the use of retardant and where are we going to use it. So our retardant use is based off of our operations plan, working in conjunction with our air tactical group supervisor that is flying over the incident. We have to prioritize due to there's only a certain number of aircraft that we can have at any one time. As we've talked with the lack of resources, there still is multiple other fires going around the state, and we're all competing for those same aviation assets as well. So to point on specific areas of where retardant may use, where it may not be used, that is decided between operations and the air tactical group supervisor that is flying over the incident. There was a question if we are losing our air support to the rock fire. We have not lost any air support to the rock fire. We've had some questions about structures and cabins up along the Highway 50 corridor and in the Kybers area and the Riverton area. So they are doing this every day. There's multiple teams out doing damage assessment, looking to see where that's at. So they are continuing to do that, and they will continue to do that until the entire fire is incorporated. Threat has been mitigated with the fire. So what are the plans to protect Kirkwood? So our operations folks are coming up with our primary plan, our secondary plan. As you can see, the Highway 88 corridor, the fire's still a ways away from that. But trust me, we have folks that are out there, and I can guarantee you our operation folks are out doing that day and night. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Quickly, I'd like to address one question about some eligibility for federal housing and help and whatnot. So the county has put up a website, El Dorado County has put up their website that also has the damage inspection stuff on it for your houses and the people in the neighborhoods. So please visit that website. We've posted the link for our link tree, which will take you to that, not only to other websites, like I said in the beginning of the meeting, to sign up for email updates and whatnot, and you will find all the information on that county website that the County of El Dorado has put up for you for any assistance that you might need. And with that, I'll bring up Chief Schwab for some more operations questions.
Okay, question about what do hand crews do? Everything on a fire. They're a great utility. Conduct firing operations, mop up. They're really our utility resources that we use on the incidents. How long does it take to mop up a fire this size? That's a good question. It depends truly on the type of fuel that we're in. If the west side of this fire is a lot of brush, grass, oak, woodland, that mops up a lot quicker than heavy timber. Up in this country, there's 40-inch DBH logs that are down. There's timber slash that's been on the ground. There's duff that's, feet deep, feet thick, that we just have to get in there, and those hand crews have to literally tear that stuff apart, grub it, scrape it, and squirt water on it to mop it up. So it takes quite a while in that timber fuel. The areas, we're getting spot fires all over the place. We're not concerned when the fire spots in areas like this where it's not near our control line. It's not a huge concern. When it's spotting near our control lines, which we're receiving numerous spot fires over here right now in Division Juliet, the very east side of the fire. The nice thing is this fire is up. It's not right down on the Highway 50 corridor, so it's not in and amongst the structures that are down there. It's well above it. Receiving spot fires there. The spot fire we're getting spot fires off of that, and we still continue in Division Alpha every single day to get spot fires as this fire runs up out of the Consumnes River, and it challenges our control line. I think Chief Martin answered, is the fire getting close to Highway 88? No, we still have a really good buffer from Highway 88. Round bracket versus square bracket, we use, again, the ICS system. We have what's called the span of control. Within the ICS system, the round brackets break up divisions. The square brackets break up branches. The divisions work for the branches, and the reason we do that, if I didn't have any branches, I'd have 14 people calling me, and that's more than I can handle. So that helps us out. Containment and grizzly, where, again, this I can't illustrate how we are making progress. In fact, I'm super happy with the progress that we're making. If everything goes well, we plan to be done with this firing show, have it burnt in all the way down through the river, up the other side, within 2 to 2.5 days, if everything goes perfect with that. This burn up here off of Sly Park Road, again, there's no fire on the other side of Sly Park Road. It took us, we have to here because there are so many structures up above the canyon right there, and we've just been diligent about touching every single one of those structures and getting it prepped the best that we can. Longer, so I'm guessing about 4 days to get that completely burned in. Allow us a couple days to get in there and mop up that edge to about 300 feet in, and then we start feeling confident that the fire is not going to move on us. We talked about, Chief Martin talked about Kybers. Can the fire travel down 50 at nighttime? We have been getting down canyon winds. They are pretty predominant right down the Highway 50 corridor. They occur in the evening when it cools off. They haven't caused us to move a little bit down canyon on us, which wasn't a critical thing. And why we have dozer line but no black line up in here. A lot of our dozer lines that we put in a lot of dozer lines, primary, secondaries, that was talked about. Some of those are Pioneer, some of them we're just putting in to check the fire spread. So until we can actually get in and create, a black edge, a burnt edge right on that dozer line, mop it up, it's not considered containment. And that was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. With that, I'd like to bring up Chief Martin, our Unified IC, with his closing comments.
Okay, so there were some questions about the weather. It's going to be about 60 degrees to 50 degrees. Our humidities are going to come up quite a bit to 45 to 50%. 70s to mid 80s for our temperature. Our humidities are going to be Christmas Valley and some of these other things. But I want to make sure each and every one of you understand, and I'm going to name off some communities here real quick. Slide Park, Sierra Springs, Slide Park Hills, Somerset, Pleasant Valley, Grizzly Flats, Leone Meadows, Pollock Pines, Spring Valley, River Pines, Riverton, the Randall Tract, Camino, Cedar Grove, Kybers, Whitehall, Strawberry, Fresh Pond, Happy Valley, Somerset, Fairplay, and Omo Ranch. I want you to know, each and every one of you to know, that we are still fully engaged in each and every one of those communities. We still are full throttle, moving forward with our plan as operations talked, and we are engaged in each and every one of these communities. I want to make sure you all know that because we are moving farther to the east, that we have not forgotten about these communities here, and we are still fully engaged. Team 6, along with CAL FIRE, my federal partners from the U.S. Forest Service, we are side by side to make sure we get full mitigation of this incident. Each and every day, as you can tell by this map, we're starting to link those little wins together. You're starting to get black line on the map, and that's going to continue through the next coming days. Each and every day, we're going to start stringing these little victories to large victories, and you're going to start seeing that black line come around this. So I just want to make sure of that. At 6 o'clock tonight, we do have a community meeting for our folks in the Tahoe Basin that will address any questions or concerns for that Tahoe Basin. But we are committed to seeing this incident to an end. We are committed to working with our cooperators, which there are many of them out there, to make sure we meet and address all needs. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you, Chief. With that, I'd like to go ahead and close out our meeting for this evening. I'd like to reiterate some of the numbers for you, for those of you that came in a little late to the meeting. So again, current acreage of the fire is 117,704 acres, 9% containment with 2,119 personnel assigned. Please remember these numbers get changed daily, the 7 a.m., 7 p.m. updates. Also, in response to your guys' comments about not being able to log into Zoom, watch for a release tomorrow. We will be releasing a new Zoom link for tonight's meeting that will allow even more people in. We're trying to respond to everything that you need, so if you have any questions, please submit those early, and we'll try to answer the best we can. With that, be safe, stay informed, and have a good night.